What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 11, All Hallows Eve edition of our Build in Public series, where I walk you through what we just finished building for the past week, leading up to our release of the Sanctum product. The Sanctum for all designers in the tabletop roleplay game industry, the sacred space where they can build and master and develop and hone their games and systems and supplements and adventures and everything to help streamline and get them to publishing faster. This is later in the day, so I'm feeling a little wild in this recording, but I'm also in such a good mood because of Halloween. It's my everything. It's what I live for. But more importantly, what we're about to show you, we close the loop on the file dependencies, where today you're going to see us actually getting the data from the dependencies. And this is just such a life-changing experience. Like, that's so dramatic, but I mean, it really is. This is going to change everything. And it emotionally warms my heart. So that doesn't even explain it. I can't put into words like how seeing this feature in its basic completion of where we are today, how easy it is to use and how fast it is. Man, oh man, it will make you feel something. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, this is a non-edited video. What you see is what you get. It's a one-shot video. I do not edit these. The only thing I edit is the transcript because I cannot speak, and closed captions has trouble understanding because I don't open my mouth. That's a me problem. But outside of that, this isn't edited. Sanctum is an app for tabletop roleplay game designers. Right now, they don't have anything. We are building that thing that's made specifically with tabletop roleplay game design features, like meta features, like dice analysis and all this other types of fun stuff. This simply doesn't exist. This is help to streamline game development, but also to make it more collaborative and accessible for everyone in the industry or people looking to become game designers. We're solving so many gaps, and Sanctum is just becoming such a massive part of me as a creative, as an entrepreneur, as a member of this community and industry. It just means so much to me now that it's coming to life. So I hope it does the same for you. So outside of that, we do not, this isn't an AI product. We do not build AI features. This is not an AI anything. We just use good old algorithms, and that's why it's so fast. There's no need for AI. It's just crazy how much the world is just turning to this thing that's just unnecessary in like 99.9% of the cases. Okay, so let's get down to it and let's see what this is all about. So last week, we showed you that we added this new way that you can actually publish and manage your systems. And it was so easy and it was so fast. We're going to pick up from there. So here's my dashboard. Once again, we're the same indie collective organization with the same members. We are the creator. You can see the U, which we're also the owner. We have a member who's an editor. They can edit all the files. This would be like another designer that you're working or partnering with. And then we have a viewer. Think of this as like a publisher or maybe a visual artist that you hire, that you need them to be able to get access to what you're doing, but you don't want them touching anything. No touchy. So that's our team. And we have 4 repositories. One of those is dice templates. where we have 3 systems files. We can see one of these is published. It's the standard polyhedral set. This is mirrored after ideal to our production site. It's under lock and key. It's so secret. Shh, don't tell anyone right now. But essentially, Nurl, our organization, has created dice templates repository, and we have these files. And these are system files, and the only mechanics we're actually contributing to this file are our dice. And whoa, would you look here? We finally have some nice dice icons added to the game. Or not to the game, to the app. This is not a game, it's an app that makes games. So super stoked about this. Thank you to the Brain Trust server. This is where we got these icons. We did tweak them a little to match our aesthetic a little more. But in the future, for anyone interested, I am an open source developer full-time outside of Nurl. And so Nurl will have multiple open source projects. One of ours being the UI library, our design system will be one of the first things we open source. We use Solid.js here. Oh my gosh, it's not React, it's not Vue. Oh my gosh. So I'm really stoked to be contributing to the Solid.js community, which I was a contributor of when I had the time to. Okay, so outside of that, this is essentially what we're doing in Nurl, okay? There's a big rabbit trail. So let's go to our repository. We're going to go to our open source game where we have one system file called the Tech Debt Engine. As we were working off the last episode where we were building this fun little system for this game called Tech Debt. Who knows, maybe we'll create in the future. And we saw that we now have this way to publish, browse, most importantly, and manage our dependencies. Okay, so we have 2 ways of doing this with the dice system. We can either do it here, or we could quite simply click Add Dice in the dice section, and we could just, with this one click of this standard polyhedral popular set, boom, we got it. Look at that. Look at how instant that was. And now you can, oh my God. Apologize about the doggy in the background. You can see that we added this tag that lets us know this is from the standard polyhedral set dependency. Now, I don't love this view. I would say this is probably a work in progress. We'll do something here, but something just doesn't. It just feels like we could do better. But what happens if we want to add and customize? This is pretty normal for a designer to want to start with the system and then build off of it and make it their own. The vast majority of the designers that are from the Morkborg community cult that we are members of, that's essentially what you do in the hacks. You don't have to, but the vast majority just wind up doing that. I just have a book here just from the last episode I'm still reading. I'm halfway through. Farewell to Arms is a great example. It uses the system, but it changes and tweaks some things and adds some other things. Okay, so in that aspect, let's do that same thing. So the system Morkborg in general typically uses a D2 in some cases. So if we look at this set, the set uses this naming standard, whatever the D is, and then a polyhedral blank-sided dice. So let's follow that same pattern because we want our system to be consistent, right? We don't want to have a weird name and then not. So in the future, to be clear, I could change if I wanted to. I could go in the future. You'll be able to click on these and you'll be able to edit and update these. However, I'm not interested in that. I want to use this system that everyone's familiar with. And I do want to call out, we have a D100 dice icon, which is nice. But I want it to be consistent. I just want to add one dice to this. And so in theory of design, like design systems in general, now we're getting to the nerd engineering kind of architecture and naming and practices here. Because I'm adding to this, I typically want to adopt the names, or I want to change everything to match a standard name that's consistent and doesn't stand out, where people say that's weird that that one dice is named differently. So let's use the same name. I'm going to do standard D2. It has two sides. And I'm going to put it's a polyhedral two-sided die. Now it kind of matches everything. So when I add that, oh, looky, this is nuts. We have a D2 icon as well. I mean, it's just a coin. It's a circle. It's not a big deal. But we got it. But notice we don't have a tag here. So this immediately tells us that this is our custom edition. Now, once again, I think out of all of this, I'm still trying to figure out what does this look like and what is it going to look like in all of the mechanics views, to where you could see what is your content and what is clearly the dependencies content that you're working off of. I don't know what that's going to be yet, but that is still up in the air. So this is more than likely going to change in the future. So now that we have our set, that was literally a one-click add, we could go into analysis, and it includes our D2, which we have the icons. And now we can analyze from everything from our last episode. We have a roll guide to where we know what the average result is, so the probability of that result happening, and a difficulty guide. So that way, when I'm making my system, I know, okay, I want this to be hard. I think I want to use a D2. What is that going to look like? Well, I need to do a 2. And of course, there's a 50-50 chance because it's literally a two-sided dice. And to note, we're not using a pool here. So these are our pool numbers. We're just using one dice. So one dice, it doesn't matter what your dice is. It's always going to be a flat scale. It's going to be a 1 out of whatever side's chance that is to roll. So there's not really going to be anything interesting. So let's get wild. And the higher dice you go, the more volatile it gets. So if we go to a D100, notice that in the very hard, it's only an 11% chance that a 90 or above is going to get hit. But also, the unpredictability rate skyrockets because of how many sides there is. But it's still one dice, so you're still going to average, half a 50 half the time. So let's do what most people do, which is a D20. And notice that if something's a medium chance, it's an 11 or above. And now we get our basic difficulty guide that we're kind of used to most game systems having around these numbers. So if we get interest, like if we say, okay, now let me see what an advantage or disadvantage mechanics might look like for X thing. Now I could go here, select a D20, select 2, and now I can kind of see, it's not that swingy, so it's a little more predictable. The average result is going to be 21, which is pretty basic. It's basically the halfway again. But now I get to know more of a scale level. Okay, what is this? What are the chances of this working out with advantage or disadvantage? And now that kind of closes the loop on everything that we have so far. If we go back to systems, we see that we extended one system, and that's the polyhedral set because we now have this remove button, and it has one import, which is us. So if we want to remove that, we can remove it. Yes, we can manage that here, and now it's just our custom dice. And then if we wanted to add it back, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. One click. Sorry, 2 clicks to open the thing. But you get what I mean. So that's it. Like, that's it for this week. But, and it's easy to it's easy to overlook like how groundbreaking this is for our industry and designing games because of how easy and how fast it is. But I mean, this is going to change everything. So thank you so much. This has been an amazing month. We've accomplished so much. I cannot wait for next month because we get to move to the really juicy stuff like blocks and formulas and rules. And leading up to our release. So we're bumping our private release to December just to make sure I could get some more features in to make sure that the app is valuable out the gate, valuable enough because there's no way for me to finish all of this, plus create all the features of every single file we want to support. That's impossible for me to do within 2 months. But we should have a good enough starting point where you have your version control baked in. Next week, I'm going to start with the branching. So that way we can branch out of the protected and we can work in safe little silos. And we have the canvas file for brainstorming. We'll have the system file. And while people are using the private beta, I'll be creating the core rulebook file. Yeah, I think I'll start with the core rulebook because adventure and supplement both depend on a core rulebook file being created. Okay, so I'll be building the core rulebook out. But that's it. So thank you for hanging out. Happy Hallows Eve. And that's it. See you later.